So, I don't know how to start this.
Welcome to Beyond Beats.
Yes, welcome. Man, first episode.
Yeah.
I think we had like 4 days and billions of voice messages from me to you to plan this.
Yeah, it was. It all came together really quick. Less than a week, really, and then
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we should talk about. Well, I guess first off, like, how was your week?
Dude,
Before we get into like the podcast and stuff, how are you?
I'm good. It's funny because we started this podcast, like the idea was that we want to talk about what like other things because we're both beat makers, and so we're like, let's do something where we can talk about things beyond beats.
Yeah.
Hence the name. And honestly, my week was kind of very beat making centric. So,
Same.
I guess I don't have that much to talk about. My sister is currently here in Sweden for a visit with her family, so it's been a lot of
Family time. That's
family
great.
time, a lot of being on the playground and all of that. So that was really nice.
Nice and wholesome.
Yeah, I wasn't this like kind of creative rut where I just beat block as they call it, and I couldn't really get anything done, so it was kind of nice to sort of like just zoom out and get some perspective, talk to my brother-in-law, just like kind of have a different
Just family
focus point.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Similar, very similar. I actually this weekend I traveled to upstate New York to this city called Albany, and it was a 3-hour drive from New York City, Brooklyn type thing. And I went up there with a couple of other beat makers, and we did a gig on Friday night in Albany, which was really, really fun. My first time in Albany. Yeah, it's just like a kind of small town compared to New York, and spent a night there and, hung out with, my beat maker buddies, and I think drove 3 hours back to New York the next day on Saturday. So, but yeah, that was pretty cool. Just getting to travel and do a set in Albany, and
Road trips are always
a road
fun.
trip essentially. Yeah, a road trip.
Yeah.
So that's always fun.
And I
Road
can
trip to do.
only imagine you listened to some cool music,
Yeah, that was really it's cool it's always
both
cool
at
to
the
see.
show and in the car.
Yeah, and it's always cool to see how different cities, different communities do shows and build their communities, and yeah, it's always good to kind of mingle and intermix.
For sure. How would you say it's different than, and I don't know how to distinguish that, downstate New York or
Oh, upstate. Yeah, upstate. It's just the city's a lot smaller. They're way smaller, and but the talent is still really good, and we got to see some local acts, and it's just cool to see, no matter the size of the city, there's people out there doing similar things as you are. Just maybe at maybe the community might not be as big, but the talent definitely still stands.
Yeah, I can sort of relate to that in a way that I'm still looking over here. I just recently moved from Berlin, Germany, to a small town in Sweden, and I'm still looking for the kind of that part of like the scene and like other creatives and stuff like that. I haven't really like connected to a whole lot of people here, but yeah, I'm sure they're there somewhere. If you're in southern Sweden, hit me up.
But yeah, that was my weekend, and and then it became us talking to each other about Beyond Beats, and I guess it segues pretty nicely into what we can share now about what we want to do with this podcast.
Yeah.
I guess we'll start with the name.
Yeah, you came up with that. Like I hit you up, I think like we said like a week ago or something, and I've been thinking about a podcast, like, you know, starting one for forever. And for those who know, I already had a podcast with a buddy of mine in Berlin a while ago, and that kind of just like sizzled out in a way. Still love him. But yeah, it's and I just love the format of podcasts myself. Like, I love listening to podcasts, and I've been thinking about starting over with another one for a while now, but I didn't really know where to start, whom to ask, and so on. And we had like I don't even remember what it was about, to be honest, but we had a pretty good conversation going, you and I, a while ago, and I was like, it just like hit me, and I was like, dude, this is like a long shot. And you know, I had this other guy in mind, and I just never reached out to him because I was scared of basically being rejected. And I was like, yeah, so I could totally do a podcast with that guy, and I never asked him. And then we had this conversation, and it just struck me like Metic is the guy, you know. So I just I was like, yeah, you know, this might be a long shot, but how about we start a podcast? And then 5 days later or something, I don't even know, we're sitting here.
Yeah, and I think just you know, I know I always want to you know, explore doing a podcast too, because I feel like it's a very good way for people to you know, get to know us on a deeper level, just because we're doing music, we're releasing instrumental music. You know, even our social media content, there's not that much room for talking. I mean, there is. It's just that you know, I don't do it nearly as much as I'd like to.
Yeah,
and
same.
There's
I think
really
a lot of people
no
can relate to that.
Yeah, and there's really no better way to do it in other than in a long form speaking type platform like a podcast. So, and then, you know, we started talking about what this podcast could be about, what we can talk about, and I really like what you were saying, you know, us being, you know, beat makers, just making music all day, every day. If we get together and talk about something, we would like it to go beyond what we do, which is beats. So I think, yeah, when I kind of came up with it, it was a little tongue in cheek, you know, like
the way you're putting
Beats.
It right now, it just seems like, yo, so you just put one and one together. But I was like, yo, that name's genius when I heard it. Because I suck at names. I mean, look at my name. You can't even pronounce that. Like, you can't. It's pronounced DYVN for those who don't know. But I get like a different way every week.
But that's actually, we'll talk about that, and that'll be a good topic for another podcast. Just the name,
right,
producer tag.
I think that was it. Actually,
torn about it.
What got everything started? Like, because we were talking about your name, and you know, the things people or even yourself sort of connect to that name, and you're kind of dissatisfied, and I gave you my perspective, and then I think that's how it started. That was the thing that got it started.
Yeah.
Just a side note.
Oh man, identity crisis as an artist.
Yeah.
I mean, we could make a whole new podcast on that, to be very honest.
A whole not an episode, like a whole podcast. It's called Identity Crisis.
Identity Crisis, Beatmaker Edition, episode 20,005.
It's a daily podcast as well.
Just live stream my life. Fade me. But yeah, so we wanted to, this is kind of our effort in going beyond just talking about what we already do pretty much all day, every day. And, you know, I like how you are, you know, you're defined by way more than just, you know, your music, your beats. You know, you're a dad, you're an environmentalist, and you try to lead a very healthy and healthy lifestyle, and
I do my best.
you could, yeah, exactly, and you can share a lot about that aspect of your life. And I feel like that it's time that we there's some sort of platform for people to talk about managing your mental health, managing your like physical wellness as full-time creatives, beat makers type thing. So yeah, that's why I really rallied around this vision, and that's how Beyond Beats came about, essentially.
Nice. Damn. The thing is, the other thing is why when I thought of you as a co-host was that we did actually do, for those who don't know, you can check that out after, if you're still here after watching this podcast. We did a whole episode of my second effort to start a podcast, which was on my YouTube channel. And so we already did one whole episode together, and I really enjoyed that. And it was way too long and way too unstructured and all of that, but it was a very fun talk and super nice to catch up. And like we've been talking for forever now, I think.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this already feels like something we've already been doing before. And I told my wife about it, and she was like, yeah, that's great. And he's got a super nice voice too. So I was like, yeah, it's the whole package.
Dude, on that note, my wife Karen still knows you as the rapid fire guy. And the story behind that is when we did our podcast back then, you would always ask whoever your guests are at that episode, you would always ask them to do a rapid fire round with you.
Yeah.
Like you would just ask a question, and then your guest would give like a quick, rapid 1-word, 2-word answer. And I think I forget what the question was, but like I gave you the most long-winded answer, I remember. And then Karen heard it, and then she was just like, "Oh, how typical," because she knows me as the guy who's way long-winded. Yeah. So she's so sick and tired of my BS, and she was just found so much amusement in my not so rapid response to your rapid fire questions. Yeah. So you're the rapid fire guy, and she, I think she when I told her we're exploring a podcast together, that she definitely really liked that idea too.
Nice. Yeah. But I'm the same. So I think my wife will also be happy that I've got someone to talk to every week now. Because it's otherwise that all of that is like,
all that energy is just channeled into I know what you mean.
She does. She has to, sort of. I asked her to listen to the show after we wrap it up. She won't.
If we wrap it up.
If we wrap it up. Oh man. But that brings us to our next part, sort of already, and that's what else can you expect from this podcast? And I think the other part that we both like is getting to know new people, be it in upstate New York or in I'm still lonely over here, Sweden. And so I thought that was a super cool way to meet new people or just have a really cool conversation with people you already know. Mm-hmm. And bring on guests. So that's going to be part hopefully from our second episode on, hopefully every week, and hopefully every episode that we plan to have guests. We'll try to do our best. And there will of course also have rapid fire. So obviously,
exactly,
because I love that content form.
I really like the plan of having people on and talking about, of course we're going to talk about music. We're ultimately tied to this community that we're in, and we're going to talk about a lot of musical subjects, but the idea, we're not going to go totally 100% beyond beats. It's definitely still tied to it, and that's why we have beats in the name. But the effort of this podcast is to go a little bit beyond, you know, what it's like to do music when you're pursuing other creative pursuits. What's it like to do music as a dad, and you know, but yeah, things like that. You know, we plan to do this in the upcoming episodes. But in the meantime, yeah, I guess we can share a little bit about ourselves and what we do before we start inviting our listeners to learn about our guests.
And it's not, for the record, we're being listened to already. It's not like we don't have any listeners right now, or any guests. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
So this guy is over here. For audio listeners, this is my dog, Iggy. He's live.
Beagle? No.
It's a Jack Russell.
No, sorry. Yeah, Jack Russell, sorry.
He's doing ASMR with the camera right now.
Yo, he's so chill. Is he sleepy right now?
Cutest dude. Yeah,
dude, he's so cute.
He's been outside for a while now, so. Yeah, he's inside. He's really chill. Outside, he's crazy.
Dude, I know. Yeah, Jack Russells. You have to let them do their thing. Let them release their energy.
Yep.
And you know, you're in a great, you know, setting for the Jack Russell. For Iggy.
Yeah, that's honestly part of why we moved, because Berlin was not the place for a Jack Russell.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
yeah,
not for a 1-year-old either, like 1-year-old human.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I bet Iggy is so happy to just being in the Swedish countryside now.
Name.
Yeah, Iggy.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. We have a guest, but he's not that talkative right now.
So it's just, you know, it's cool to first learn about you as something more than just a beat maker, right? You're not just Iggy's dad. You're a full-time plant dad. You're a full-time dad, full-time husband, in addition to all the other things you're doing. So what brings you to from Berlin to Sweden?
So it's actually a multitude of reasons, just tons of small ones, but ultimately it was when our daughter was born that we started talking about it for real. And I think it was also part of it was that we just figured, you know, we're both in our, now me early 30s, my wife in her, she would arguably say early 30s, but a little bit older than I am, and we just figured we don't want to like stay in the same place forever. We just figured it's like we've been like sort of thinking about moving to Sweden kind of like for half serious fun, you know, for many years now, kind of ever since we met. And we learned the language before even.
I think that's very key.
Yeah, totally.
Just knowing the language, yeah.
Definitely. That makes a big difference, especially like in a smaller place like here. People are like not that comfortable speaking English, even though they're pretty good at it. But yeah, so in the end, we're just like, it's now or never. So we just went for it.
Is there any reason, because, okay, you speak the language, you speak Swedish, but as to where in Sweden, like, you know, you definitely wanted a smaller town / city, so that, you know, you and your family could enjoy a little bit more of nature. But was there more to why you're in this? I forget how to pronounce that town that you're in. But was there another further reason why you picked this town?
No, not really. It was more or less like it was kind of close to. I used to work. I'm not sure if I ever said it before where I used to work, so I'm not sure if I'll say it now. Maybe in another episode. Tune in.
Yep. I see. So I
so it was kind of close, still kind of close to Malmö, where I used to work at before I quit my job to become a full-time music producer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's that, and then there was just literally we were there. We had like 4 days to look at apartments, and that one just worked for us, and we got that one.
Gotcha.
So kind of like a good coincidence, and we kind of really liked it when we were here. It was like, this feels right, this feels nice, and
You're right by the beach.
It's right by the beach. Yeah, like I live 10 minutes by car, or like eight minutes by car, 15 minutes by bike, 25 minutes by foot from the beach. You can almost smell it from here. So yeah, that was a big factor.
Living the dream.
Yeah, to a certain extent. But man, you just I think it's been a year or something now since you moved to New York, right? On the subject of moving.
Yeah, it's on and off. The pandemic kind of threw. So my wife and I came to New York around 2019, and because of the pandemic, and I had to be in Hong Kong for most of 2020 and 2021. But the point is, I'm here now, and this is my first kind of full year in New York, and it's been really good. We recently moved to Brooklyn, and it's been such a breath of fresh air. Just
literally.
Yeah, like literally. And it's much homier in terms of the surroundings, but you're at the same time you're not that far from everything. And honestly, it's been in terms of the city and everything, it's we love it. We love it here. And it's been, I've just been building out this new space, this new studio.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I've been looking at it this entire time. I was like, this looks like, I still recognize the sign up there, but that's like, everything else looks so different, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, it looks really nice, really clean.
I try to put on some panels. Yeah, that's the sign is a license plate of the car that I drove from London to Mongolia with back in the summer of 2013.
Oh wow!
So that's why that has a real very special meaning.
You heard it first on Beyond Beats.
Yeah, yeah. That
I've
was
been wondering
a crazy
about that
summer.
forever, and I could have just asked you, but I was saving that one for the audience.
Yeah, I mean that was a crazy summer. We took 37 days to drive from London to Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, and that it was for a charity. It was a charity rally called the Mongol Rally, and in the end, we donate the car to charity, and so we get to keep the license plates. And I mean this is just a constant reminder of. You could, if you put your mind to it, you could drive 1/3 of your way across the world if you wanted to. In
How many
37
kilometers or miles would that be?
It was like I think like 10,000. I forget it was 10,000 either miles or kilometers.
It's a big number in some.
Yeah, it was a big number. Yeah, I forget. Yeah,
some measurement unit.
Yeah, it was. It's been a while, but so that plate is just that's why I always like having it in the studio, so it could remind me. But other than that, just some cool like memorabilias. I'm trying to get into DJing with this controller.
Nice. I've got this tractor controller that I bought, and like that was one of those I really want this, and I've been thinking about it because I didn't have the producer money that I make now.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. And I was like kind of like turning every penny, and so I've been thinking about getting that for like a year, and then now it's just catching dust in my closet. So
I hear you.
It's a bit of a sad story, but maybe you can teach me how to use stuff.
I'm still trying to figure it out, man. Like and I have so much respect for like DJs and what they do, and just be able to mix genres, mix songs so in and out so easily. Because the more I play with it, the more I realize it's much harder than
it's not just pressing play. What I did was I prepared a couple of questions that are supposed to be fun, and I'm not sure if they are fun because my mind sometimes makes things feel funnier than they are. I'm like a classic dad joke kind of person. So when I became a dad, I was like,
no
kind
shame
of,
in that. You're a dad. You're a full-time
yeah,
dad.
exactly. But yeah, I kind of grew into those shoes, so to say. So I've got like 5 questions. Honestly, I don't remember them, so I've got them over here. So I
That's all
will.
good.
I'm not even sure if they're funny at all, or if they're like just questions.
It's
I feel like I'm rambling.
just whatever it is,
nervous
it'll be
rambling.
embraced. It'll be fully embraced on this end.
So this is our
And
third like.
I can't speak for the
section of
audience, but it'll be fully embraced.
Stay
Here.
with us. We've got our music of the week recommendations at the end, so it'll be worth to stay or to just skip to that part. No, I'm joking. Okay, so this is the part where we usually do like the interview with a guest and stuff like that. Since we don't have a guest except for my dog Iggy, and he's not in the mood to talk right now, we'll do the questions for ourselves today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you also prepared some questions or.
Let's start with you first, because on that end,
He'll get
I
inspired.
didn't really have. Yeah.
So, first question: when at home, that's not actually a fun question. Do you listen to music on headphones or speakers?
Speakers by default. But whenever Karen has a call or whatever, I'll be on headphones immediately.
Okay.
I assume it's the same way for you.
I'm a headphones guy, totally. Like headphones first, actually. I'm a complete headphones guy. Yeah, I kind of got into the habit where I just I just like the sound better. It's more direct. It's more you have it in your ears.
Yeah.
So it's just have a family at home now, so it's like, and thin walls with neighbors and stuff. But yeah, so I think that's how I came up with that question. I was wondering if I'm the only person who listens to music at home with headphones on.
Mm-hmm.
Next question: what are the first 5 things you do in the morning, bathroom breaks excluded?
That's a big part of my morning, man. I don't know why you would want me to exclude that.
Yeah, no, okay, include it.
No, I'm kidding. Mainly just I wake up, brush up and all that stuff, and then I like to drink, like, I think it's my age showing. I like to drink like a full glass of water right after I wake up, like warm to hot water, and I take my time with it, and then start to turn on the computer, listen to some vinyl or whatever, and then after I'm done with that, I'll go make a coffee. It's either, right now we're on a pour over phase right now, so we're making a lot of pour over coffee, Karen and I, and it's quite therapeutic making it, because it takes a little bit of time, and I get to do it and kind of zone out a little bit, mild meditation, if you will. Do that for a little bit, and then I get to my coffee, and then I get to the things that I have to do for the day, like if I need to play some guitar for people, or if I want to make some music or whatever, or typically I try to get to the emails first, actually,
right,
before I get to all the creative stuff.
I never know how to approach that first, like either I feel like I can only lose or win. I don't know, but it's interesting.
I mean, because the thing with the creative stuff, the way I see it, at least, it can go on. Like if you catch flow state or whatever, and you just keep going, I could go on for the whole day if I wanted to, and that means I won't get to all the messages or the emails until the end of the day,
like 15 voice messages that your buddy DYVN sent you about this podcast.
And sending voice messages of my own. But that's why I try to get all the administrative stuff out of the way first, and then if more urgent stuff pops up during the day, at least I could still tackle it.
Right.
I'm not like, but yeah, so admin stuff first, and then creative stuff, and then. But yeah, the coffee is the key, and then what you for what you told me not to talk about as well. That comes after the coffee.
In full detail on the next episode.
Exactly.
I guess every morning routine is kind of similar, centered around coffee, and for me it's like waking up. I tend to do a quick morning meditation for like either still in bed, because then I kind of wake up with lots of oxygen in my head, which I really like.
Oh,
you know,
that's really cool, actually.
I feel very like open when I wake up like that.
How long?
Like 1 minute to 10 minutes, something in between those, depending on.
That's cool.
Yeah. I don't do that every time. Also kind of depends on my kids' state of being awake or not.
Do you do that thing where you you close your eyes and then you like scan through your whole body and then you take deep breaths while at the same time?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, I try to. That's like the that app, whatever. Anyway, yeah. I need to talk to you about meditation. I mean, that'll be another episode.
For sure.
I've been trying to learn more about that as well.
Yeah. I love how you get your notepad there. Nice.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, I think I usually do admin stuff first as well, but I try to not to do too many, because I've also got the label Musa Records. And I try to either do something like anything time sensitive first, and then jump as soon as I can into making music. That's not true. I actually do some workout like 10 to 30 minutes in the morning, because then I already know like throughout my entire day that I've been active. And then, walking the dog is not the only activity. So it kind of like it's sort of all those things that you can carry around with you all day. I like doing those right away. Thus get up kind of early, and then get all of that exercise and breathing and all of that in. That sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but that's like an ideal morning. Yeah, I don't know if that was 5 things, but
no, but I just got another idea for another episode, because I think one meditation routine, that could be another one, fitness, because we're sitting on the computer all day, and that's something I'm struggling with as I'm getting older, and I feel my body kind of not reacting the way it used to when I was in my 20s, and it definitely so that's definitely
everyone in the audience that's like 25 and younger is just signing off at this moment. They're like, okay, these guys are old.
It's I feel it. I feel every I feel everything, and it's I that's why I'm always very keen to learn about what other producers do, or beat makers or artists.
100%. Third question, dude. You're moving, as one does. The apartment is completely empty. You're only allowed to take one item with you. What's the item? Be practical about it. Don't say guitar. I know your head went to that.
I
you can
honestly, assuming Karen's got herself taken care of and stuff.
No. You've got one thing.
Just gear, right? Just gear.
No.
Honestly,
just anything to live, like anything. A plate, toilet brush.
Well, I think honestly, just my MacBook. Probably.
So you don't have any plates to eat off of, no couch to sit on.
Because the thing is, my everything is on my MacBook. It's got all my photos, it's got all my projects, all the masters, all the, it's gotten to a point where it's so important that, the guitars, it's just going to be a shame to replace them, but my computer. It's yeah, it's just way too important at this point.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
No, I don't have an answer.
Well, is
I
that the
stole
same
that
for you?
question from a podcast, so I'm kind of biased there because the one person said toilet brush, the other person said couch. So I'm like somewhere in between those two, but my MacBook actually is also a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip on that one, and I'm gonna try to answer that on a future episode. Fifth question is a word association game, 5 rounds. So I'm gonna say a word. You say the first word you associate with it. I'll do another one, and we go forth and back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with super creative because I've got one over here. Lamp.
Shade.
Blue, the color.
Grass. I'm literally just
The musical genre.
making words.
Okay, lighter.
Losing.
This is getting philosophical. Money.
Important. Really bad at this.
MacBook. Final word.
MacBook
Pro.
Yeah. Just everything.
This went great. I would say this is a 10 out of 10 round.
Yeah, we can really get to know how
our minds work.
Yeah, how my mind scrambles.
Since I gotta run, since I'm a husband and a producer, we've got like 5 minutes left, and I would say we promised a quick round of music of the week. How about that? The cool thing is we're gonna do a Spotify playlist as well, so you guys can check out the music of the week in one playlist, so you guys can just listen to what we've been listening to, and we're gonna link that in the description of whichever platform you're on. I'm gonna start with a song that you sent me. You sent me this album, the Nokia album. I forgot what the album was called actually.
It's insane.
It's called Illusions. Great title. And there's this one song called One Too Many with Glimlip, and dude, I kind of bumped back into that song over and over again, and it got me looking up the song again and again. I was like, oh, that's a cool tune. I was in the Beats Instrumentals playlist in Apple Music, and I was like, this song was playing. I was like, oh, what's that? This is cool. So I kept going back to that song from different, angles, sort of. So yeah, that's my first song of the week.
Yeah, the synth work on that album or on that track specifically is pretty impressive. Just like the womp 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 and stuff. And,
always a fan of the
womp. There's just so much movement and texture, and yeah, I really enjoyed that album, and in particular that track. I had this for my recommendations, but then I realized it can't be placed on the Spotify playlist, but I'm going to say it anyway. I listened to it on my way to Albany, actually, to upstate, and it was put on by my buddy Designer Dreams, who's a really dope beat maker here. He put me onto this tape that Cook and Soul put out, I think back in like 2016, 17.
Nice.
He basically put together, I don't know how I missed this tape, but it's amazing. Cook and Soul put together this like EP-ish, there's like 3 or 4 tracks type thing, where he compiled all this vintage like Kanye footage of him doing the Def Poetry Slam, of his old interviews and all that stuff. And then he just made like um, a beat tape out of it,
Okay.
and kind of got that like Kanye sound as well. And I think it's particularly relevant today because Kanye is obviously, he's going
Besides
off the
making
rails a little
very
bit.
questionable statements.
Yeah, he's going off the rails a little bit, and and he's just getting canceled left and right, and I mean just justifiably. And but
Yeah.
I just thought of like the old Kanye, man, like,
Yeah.
and I just really miss. I really miss
Like he
the
would
old
say, I
Kanye.
miss the old Kanye. Da, 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 da.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is me rapping.
So it was kind of like listening to this tape again, just kind of because it's all his early interviews, and he was just super hungry, coherent, and
Right.
and everything, and and on top of that, it's all Cooking Soul's beats, and then it's
Yeah,
just such
it's a
a
good
it's a
combination.
tape. Yeah, it's so
I gotta check
like
that out. We're gonna put that in the show description as well. Just
Dude,
shout out Cook and Soul, shout out old Kanye, I guess.
Yeah, I had a religious experience listening to this almost, but yeah, I mean, it's just like all the stuff that before he kind of took this turn for whatever it is he's doing.
Whatever
now.
it is now.
Yeah. So yeah,
on
just
the
missing
subject
the
of Kanye, I've been saying I've always been saying that he's one of my favorite musical artists of all time, and the 808s and Heartbreak album is one of my all-time favorite records. And
dude,
I've got a funny story to tell about that one from this week. Actually, I was in the swimming pool this Sunday, and so I listened to 808s and Heartbreak back in 2017, like every day, all the time, in like my spring vacation. And I don't even remember where I was, to be honest, but I was with my wife and my mom and my sister. And like I said, I've been listening to Kanye all day, to 808s and Heartbreak in specific. So when I smell that swimming pool smell,
oh wow,
it kind of makes me think of 808s and Heartbreak. So I went there this Sunday, and I instantly thought, I gotta listen to 808s and Heartbreak. And then it was like, Kanye has been kind of things like not allowed to say on this podcast, probably. Reasons I didn't want to listen to it. But yeah, that's a cool perspective, actually.
Hey, you know what? That's the power of music and the power of smell. As smell. No, seriously, like smells can, as a sense, as one of the five. It's arguably like
title of this episode.
In terms of bringing back old memories,
power of music, the power of
smells can do that. But but yeah, other than that tape, Knowledge and Anderson .Paak finally put out a new song after the album they made together.
Oh, they did? How did I miss that?
I think probably it's going to be the lead up to their second album together.
Damn,
but yeah, it's called Where I Go, and it's a vibe, man. It's just vintage. I guess they're together. They're called No Worries, and just it's got all very feel good.
Damn, I gotta listen to that right after this.
Yeah, it's
cool.
Just got all the right vibes.
I got a matching vibe for that. It's Smino, new song Matinee.
Oh no, I haven't.
Don't have a lot to say about it. Just check it out. It's a vibe.
Yeah. All right, I'll be checking that out too. But yeah, that's my only, because other than that, the Cook and Soul tape is not on. Obviously,
right.
So that's all I have.
Following up to that, we've got I think they're both on the alternative R&B playlist on Apple Music. Feeling Myself from Nick Hakim, such a vibe. So check that out. I don't have a lot to say about that, to be honest, except I was really feeling that track because I felt like I had those like kind of two not really being myself weeks. And when I heard that song, I was like, yeah, I'm finally feeling myself again. So
Dude, that's another. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
as instrumental producers,
That's a vocal
I
track, though.
listened.
Oh,
I
okay.
know,
Sorry,
but
sorry.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
but I was like, I think the split of what I listen to musically, like between like non-lyrical, instrumental versus lyrical, is probably like I probably listen to instrumental music more, but yeah, I think something, yeah, it's just, lyrical songs just hit different.
It's not that often that I, you know, um, really connect to lyrics like that, because I've always
Yeah.
been sort of like a more of a instrument guy. So I've always been more of a, oh man, look at that guitar solo, which on that matter is also part of my final track, Afterlife by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Man, that's
Oh, I
such
need
a
to check out their new album.
yeah, you got it. Like I've
man.
been a fan of theirs since, I want to say since the early days, but I wasn't born then. No, but my first like real, I mean, obviously the Californication, by the way, sort of like period was already when I listened to them. But when I really became like a super fan was when they released Stadium Arcadium. I was right in that age when I started playing the bass.
Oh, yeah.
And so
of course.
I just basically went to my bass teacher and asked him to show me how to play each song in the freaking record. And it's a double record, so it's a lot of songs.
Yeah.
And then for me, everything after that didn't really like do it. You know, they switched guitarists, and it didn't really like it just hit differently. You know, but I can still listen to that Stadium Arcadium album with the same ears that I could as like a 13 or something year old, you know, whatever age I was back then. And then they released a new album earlier this year, which was really good, I think, but it was just not really hitting like that for me. Unlimited Love. And then they released another double album just like 9 days ago. And that was it for me. That was like the album that I've been waiting for the last 17 years, you know. So Afterlife, my favorite track from the new Red Hot Chili Peppers album. Check it out. You won't regret it. To me, it's like the best song on the record, or one of the best songs. It's the one that I kept coming back to. And I was like, what song is that? Oh, yeah, that song again, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the Red Hot Chili Peppers kind of combine all of that for me, like both the instrumental world and the lyrical world well, and just like I really feel a lot of their lyrics, but also the instrumental parts are always on point, and so that's my conclusion.
Yeah. And Rick Rubin too, man.
Yeah, he's a genius, and he basically produced my childhood. That's much, a weird thing to say.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
He produced the music that I listened to as a young lad.
Yeah, those are great recommendations, Sean. I definitely need to catch up on that.
Cool, dude. I think we're running out of time. So I would say we cut it off where it hurts.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying anymore either.
That's yeah.
You know.
Bye. No, but that's it. I think that concludes. That's a good conclusion to the very first episode of Beyond Beats.
Yes.
And like we said earlier, we're gonna be having other people on in further episodes and bringing new voices and new topics. So we hope you stick around with us.
That's amazing final last words for this week.
Yeah.
I kind of ruined it, didn't I?